Hi, I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel as well as the artbyro.com website where you can find over 250 art and drawing tutorials. Again, that's artbyro.com. But first, you're going to want to watch this video on how to draw a daisy. This is great for beginners and it's perfect for artist trading cards, which I love making. So let's go ahead and go on over to the art studio and get started on that tutorial. Today I'm going to be making a daisy. I'll be drawing a daisy today. I love drawing flowers. They're so much fun. I find them very relaxing and enjoyable, so hopefully you do too. So let's go ahead and get started by drawing the center of the flower. So we're just going to make a rough circle. And then if you want, you could even do a bigger circle to help you keep the individual petals a little bit uniform. Each one's going to be unique, but if you want to kind of control how everything's going to be a little bit. So we're just going to make a petal coming off of that circle, and then we can turn our paper. I'm using an artist trading card. We'll draw another one. We're going to just keep doing this all the way around, and you could use a reference photo if you wanted to, or you can just go off this video. When I originally drew this, I brought up a photograph of a daisy to follow along with. And then we're going to use that circle on the outside as a guide so that we end up with kind of a circular shape when we're done, instead of it being too lopsided. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need that outside circle necessarily, but it does help make it a little bit easier so you're not trying to figure out how long each petal needs to be. And you can skip. You can make a space in between. And then fill in this way so there's a little bit of overlap on some of them. And then we'll go ahead and put a second layer in the background to fill up some of these big spaces. And you don't have to go all the way around in each one. What I usually do is just pick out the areas where there's a little bit too big of a gap between, or you can leave them too. They don't have to all be filled in. You can leave those gaps in there if you want. So that's pretty much it for the daisy drawing. And then we can put a stem coming in here somewhere. And it's going to be mostly blocked by the flower itself. You can kind of play around with where you want it to be showing. Like I'm going to have this show, I think, a little bit in between here, just to break that up a little bit. So then the next thing we're going to do is add an outline. And I'm going to use a black outlining pen. These are some newer ones that I bought that come in a set. And some of the other ones I use are these Sharpie pens. I used these for a long time because they were easy to get. They're inexpensive. So I'm just going to start by doing this inside circle. And I'm going to draw that line wavy so it's got a little bit of texture to it. And then I'm just going to take my pen and trace right over top of these petals. Just going around, going over top of each one. So I'm gonna speed this up and I'll be back with you when that's finished. Okay, so everything is outlined. And the next step is going to be to start adding in some color. I'm using markers. So I am going to fill in the center part with yellow. And then I have an orangish color. So I'm going to add some of this in here. And I'm doing a little bit of a scribble type of a pattern to give that some texture. Then we'll come back with this yellow and blend that in a little bit. And then I'm going to take a brown and just make some dots in here. And then for the stem, of course, we need green. So I'm going to fill in with a light green. And then I have a little bit darker green that I can put in here to make some shadows. Just do a little bit darker green along the side. And then once again, go back with the lighter green. And then for the petals, I'm just going to add a little bit of gray in here. So maybe along the center part up here where there might be some shadows. So do some gray in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this in a minute. I'll speed that up because that's going to be a little bit tedious and there's no benefit in you watching me do a bunch of those. And then for the background, I think what I'll do is just add some blue coming off of here with like these feathered lines. And then maybe add in a couple little of the darker blue. So I think I'll do that around the edges. So I'm going to continue with that and I'll be back with you when that's finished. all the color filled in. And the last thing I want to do is use this white jelly roll pen just to add in a couple of little highlights in here. Maybe some up on the center part of the flower. And then this is going to be all done. So that's it for this daisy drawing. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you feel inspired to do some of your own artwork. And I will see you in the next video. Happy creating! Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you felt inspired to make some of your own artwork. If you did enjoy the video, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you can get notified of future videos. But before you go, check out the description box. There's a freebie in there for you, as well as some other information you might enjoy. And I will see you next time. Happy creating!